Everybody, Jamie Pate here. Welcome to this video. Welcome to this channel. Thank you so much for being here. I have what I'm calling a mini album. It's a gift idea. Actually, the one I'm making is for real for a very special birthday that's coming up in my family. And I just want to show you what I'm thinking. I can't wait. Let's get started. Okay, I have a little mock-up here before we get started because I want to give you an idea of where we're going with this. As I share this with you, I also want you to think through, my crafty friends, that there's a lot of ways to do this. Even as I did it, I'm like, you could have done it this way. I'm sticking with the way I did it, and you'll see what I mean, how you could probably change some things up to make this work. This is a real easily bindable mini album. Here's our cover. It is 6 inches wide, 4 inches tall. Okay. Cute little gift size, right? I mean, and we're going to have fun with the front as well. So stay tuned for that. And as you open it up, you're going to see that I have these kind of waterfall pages here. And don't mind my big gap here. I readjusted the sizing in the real one that we'll be doing. But what I thought would be fun was to be able to see through some of these die cut words. Now, these die cut words, they're word dies from ScrapbookCom, and I'll show you them as we do them. They're supposed to be for cards. Yeah, whatever. I can't stay within the lines, which is really weird for me because I'm a firstborn child with perfectionist issues. But still, I see something, I'm like, okay, what else can we do with that? And that's what I wanted to do. I kept thinking about this idea, and I'm like, okay, this is fun. And I love, here we go, there's that one there. And I love how it worked out. Here's the thing I want to share with you as well before we get to the real part. This was just this is 49 and Market Tranquility paper. I don't have a lot of it left at all, and it's getting hard to get a hold of it. So I'm like, I'm just going to use the scraps that I have, and I literally just had parts and pieces of 12 by 12 paper. Now, that being said, this album could be made with a single 12 by 12 piece of paper. No, I lie. A single 12 by 12 piece of paper and then one more 4-inch strip. You could do that. I didn't do that. Again, I had to change it up. Okay, so what happens here is that each of these pages sort of waterfalls into the next page. Oh, you saw my pocket here. Scraps of paper, just made a little pocket, and this was die cut with a rectangle shape. You could trim this out yourself, but I just thought that was kind of a fun extra little interactive piece. And you can see the pages graduate and get a little bit bigger. Then you have our largest size in here, which is to be 10 inches by, of course, the 4 inches. And then we go back down again, which I think is kind of obvious, right? Because, well, it's not obvious yet. How could it be obvious to you? I haven't showed you how to do it yet. Okay, well, let's get started with that right now. Okay, so I am using 49 and Market Crafty Garden because I love this. You can see I've marked my pages. So as you saw in our sample, a little mock-up, each page backs up to another page, so you have that little see-through element with the word dies, right? So I've decided on my cover piece of paper. So we're just going to take this page by page. And there will be a blog post for this that will also have the instructions and the measurements. So this is just a great way to actually see what I'm doing here. Okay, grabbing our trimmer, I'm going to then line this up to 4 inches. Each of these sheets of paper are going to be 4 inches tall. None of that's going to change. That's kind of the easy part of this here. So while each of these pages is 4 inches tall, it's going to have, each of the pages are going to have a different length to them, okay? So I'm going to come in here with this, and my 12-inch piece is going to be scored in half at 6 inches. And as we move along with our pages, basically, that is how each of our pages is going to be. We're going to be scoring each one in half. So that's our cover. Now this is the inside piece I decided upon. You can see I've already used this, I think in, I think I used this for layout, I think. And so I have this strip here, which is just about 4 inches tall. I'm going to come in here and make sure we are actually 4 inches tall, and if not, we will just trim that down to 4 inches tall. Now this one is going to be 10 inches long. And I'm just thinking of how I'm going to have this on my page. This is going to be the outside of it. And this is where a die cut word's going to be. And so I'm just thinking that through. I'm going to get rid of this little extra piece here. Okay. And then I need to cut this to 8 inches. So I think, not 8 inches, I'm sorry, 10 inches. This is 10 inches. I'm going to go ahead and cut through this flower. Just a little bit, not too much. And like I already alluded to, each of these pieces are going to be folded in half. So this is going to be scored at 5 inches. So then when it comes in here, this is going to be just like that inside, okay? Each of the rest of our pages will come and cover each of the page previous to it. This is our cover, and then these guys, I'm going to probably just keep this out, and we'll actually put this inside when we're all done. Let me get my next paper. Now this is the Crafty Garden, the solids. And I've got into the habit of actually picking up the solid to a collection. I find I use it pretty often. I find that if I don't pick it up, I regret having picked it up. I'm going to trim this one to 8 inches. It doesn't matter where I trim it. It's a solid with a bit of a texture on each side. So this one is 8 inches, or 8 by 4. And moving this to score mode, I am going to, you guessed it, score this in half, so it's going to get scored at 4. When that gets turned over, just going to crease that a little better. And this goes on the outside of our previous paper, okay? So when I decided on my papers, I called the cover paper number 1. I called this one number 2. This one's number 3. And we have one more. Okay, so this is going to be my 4th paper. And I want it to be just like that. I'm going to go ahead and move this back to cut mode. And trim this 4 inches. Yes. Thank you, class, for following along. I'm only kidding. And then 6 in, oops, I'm sorry. Don't move this yet. Remember, I wanted this to be part of the page, so I am going to turn that around and cut this at 6 here. Now we can score this at our 3 inches so that it will be cut in half. And then this will cover this like this. Now this little mini booklet can go and slip inside of our cover. But wait, before we do that, we need to come along here and add in, by way of die cutting, the word dies. All right, these are the dies that I have chosen to work with. I've used these before. I love these single words so much. And I'm not even going to be too concerned that, like with the O and the R and the A, that we lose our middles. I was kind of going back and forth on that. And I decided, you know what, it's fine. It's actually, and you'll see, it looks fine. So I'm just going to, I don't have any real strong measurements on this. I'm just going to kind of center this, pull it up to the top. I want to put a piece of mint tape on here so that it doesn't want to wiggle away. And then I'm going to do this for all of, whoops. I've taken my platforms out to use for something else and failed to put them back in. So now we're good. But I'm going to do this all at once for all of my pages. I'm just going to go in there enough to get that cut and right back out. I don't need to run it all the way through. So you're going to see what I mean here. Be careful pulling your mint tape away. It's very forgiving tape, but sometimes I have pulled my paper off and that's kind of ruined the project. All right, so see how I think the hooray looks just fine even though I don't have my middles? I like it. Okay, so I'm going to decide on the rest of these. I believe for my second page, I want to do sweet. So let's find the sweet. And it's on this Hello Sunshine. Just opening up your page, and then the far right hand corner is where that die wants to live. It's going to reuse our mint tape here. And same thing as before. It's going to run this through. Okay, so I have all three of these now completed. And I like it. This happy is really going to pop against that yellow. Isn't that fun? It's super simple, but it's super fun. I want to share it with you guys. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is bind our book. So to bind our book, we're putting that, like I showed you already, our little booklet that we made, our little mini that we made, back inside of our cover. And I'm grabbing the We Are punch. I'm on the 1/8 inch size, and I'm coming down here as far as I can. It just kind of stops just by virtue of the tool. I grabbed a clip because I want to make sure my papers stay right where I want them to be, because I need to make sure that I get my hole punch right there in the score. Oops, and see how I'm not straight there. So just go in, and I know I clipped it, but it still wants to rebel. So I'm just making sure all my papers are straight. And then I'm going to do the same thing here on the other end. So there's no measurement here. You're just going in until the tool won't go in any farther. And you're finding the middle. You're finding your fold line. And then you have your holes. Okay, I have my twine here, and that's what I'm going to use today to bind this. And so, again, kind of staying pretty simple here. We're going to come up into, now it depends. I am going to have this tie on the outside because I like all of that kind of extra. To me, it's an extra layer. Let's see here. I need to poke this through. It's being a little persnickety. Could make a larger hole if you would prefer. And then back out again. Same thing. Might need some little help here from our friend as we bind up our cute little book. Okay. Yes, I do have a lot of string here. I'd rather have more than not enough, and I can then, when I did this one here, I had a lot of string, and I just left it. I'm like, oh, I just like it so much. I don't know. It's these weird little details that just get me. I don't know. I get excited about them. I'm going to tie it up here on this top hole, just a regular bow, and then I came in here with this doubled up, so I'm just going to trim that so it is loose. And that's how we bind our book. So because of this being 49 in market paper, if you've watched tutorials on here before, you know this paper is a little thick. So if you put something on here heavy when you're all done with everything, it's going to actually naturally relax for you. Okay, I have an idea for the cover. All right, for the book wrap, I'm using a 2-inch tall by 12-inch long piece of that solid paper we've used previously already in our project, and I'm going to be scoring at 3 3/4, 3 7/8, then skip over to the 8 1/8, and then the 8 1/4. And yes, those are pretty skinny scores, but I wanted to give some wiggle room to the book for whatever else I was going to add inside with the photos and the embellishment and what have you. So just take your time to fold those. They fold pretty easy. I'm grabbing the Hello die before I adhere that wrap, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that out, and that'll be all done. I think I just get giddy over these see-through things like that. And just closing it off in the back with some double-sided adhesive tape and getting that to be adhered. And then you're going to see how this slides over the book. And you can use this on any mini album, whatever. They're fun. Belly bands, sometimes they're called. I have embellished the band, and now I'm trimming out. I've used a rub-on transfer onto acetate, and I'm finishing to trim the butterfly out. Then it's going to get adhered to the band as well. So all those embellishments are on the band and will come off with the band, which is kind of fun. And that's how that came together. And then now you're just left with adding photos to the inside pages and whatever embellishments to your heart desire. Thank you so much for watching this video. Just remember, anytime you click through and purchase through my links, it is no charge to you, but it definitely keeps the free inspiration coming from here. See you in the next video.